Hello everyone, welcome back to Ansarkari. So today we are starting off with 2021 CSAT paper. We'll be taking up the first 40 questions. So starting with the passage, we see we have to look at the most critical inference that can be drawn. So I believe option A, that low intensity light has more adverse effect in the plants as compared to the high intensity light.
Option B.
B, light pollution can have permanent adverse impact. All right. Then question number 2. So we have to identify the assumptions here. So the most valid one, I believe, is only one, the first statement.
Option D.
3 and 4.
This one.
Okay. Then moving on to question number 3. So to identify the crux. So here option C, that climate changes increase the criticality of the water resources while simultaneously threatening it.
Option C.
Question number 4, we have to identify assumptions. So in this case, I believe 1 and 2 are correct.
Option C.
C, 1 and 3.
Yep.
All right. Then moving on. So question number 5, here we have to identify the remainder. So in this case, we are given with this number and we have to divide this by 10. So in this case, the easier way of solving is to identify the pattern that is being followed. So we start with 3 to the power 1 divided by 10. We'll have remainder 3. Then we'll keep on increasing the power, and you will see that after 4 steps, again the remainder will be in repeating the same pattern, like 3971. So again we'll have this same pattern repeating. So you can see we can group them into a combination of 4. So we will divide 2019 by 4 so as to form the number of groups. What can be the total number of groups that can be formed when we have 4 numbers in one single group? So it would be 504, and then also will be left with remainder 3. So in this case, this showcases that 3 means this 1, 2 and 3. So when we stop here, so it means remainder would be 7.
Option C.
Now again here we are given with this number, but O1 alphabet is, again you can see, is P. So this is divisible by 7. We have to get the value of P. So you just simply divide. When you stop at P at this place, you have 4 options. So you can place these 4 numbers and you can have a look that it has to completely solve by divisible by 7 means remainder has to be 0 in the end. So it will come in case of 6. So P is 6.
Option B.
In question number 7, in this case, we see that there's a date given for January 2021 price of petrol, and the equation for that is given. Here you just have to have a look that M can have maximum value of 100. So this is there, and after this it remains constant. On the other hand, the price of diesel, and we have again the equation for this, N can be any value, and nth day and mth day. So this is also important for us to understand. It is not the dates, like we can't put M to be 21 directly. That is mth day of the year. So to calculate 21st May is going to be which number of day of the year, and on which date of 2021 we have to calculate the prices the two fuels will be equal. So in this case, firstly I've interchanged the equation, so that is a mistake. So you can just cross multiply or interchange that. Diesel equation is this and petrol is this. So we've written it down and written the conditions here. So you can just see that if again we put N to be 100, that is 100th day, then you will see the value to be 90 rupees. And we have to get that on which day the prices will be same. So M and N has to be equal. The day has to be equal of the year. So one equation you will see that you have calculated the value 90 rupees. So you will equate with 90, and another you will equate both of these equations. So since M and N has to be same, so you will make N to be M, and then in this case you will see the value of M coming out to be 220, but again we are given M cannot exceed 100. So that is why we can get the answer from the case 2. So here M would be 140th day. This is the value that we can derive from this equation. 140th day of that year will be 20th of May. So option B.
Option B.
Okay, then question number 8. So we were given with this information and we have to depict this information in the form of equation. So I believe it can be option number B.
Option B.
Then question
D.
number 9.
8 का D.
8 का D है.
Yes, Mansi.
Okay, so take a we'll look into exactly the interpretation. Then question number 9. So this is a class and 60% students from India, rest are foreign students, 50% are girls, and then 50% are girls, this means 50% are boys. So if 30% of the Indian students they are girls, then we have to calculate the percentage of the foreign students for boys. So you can see I've written this information numerical form. Since it is asking us in percentage, so you can assume any number to be the total number of students or the persons in the group. So I've assumed for again simple calculations 100. So 60% you can say Indians, rest 40 are the people belonging coming from abroad or the foreigners we can say. We are given with the value of again 18 in terms of percentage. 30% of Indian girls are 30% of Indian students are girls. So since 60 is there, so calculate 30% of 60 will be 18. Rest out of 60 will be number of boys. Now, since you can see 50% are boys, so out of 50, 42 here are Indian boys. So we are left with 8, which would be again foreigners. And you can get the number of girls. So you can then calculate the percentage of foreign students who are boys. It means 8 divided by total 40 and not 100 will be taken up. So we'll get 20%.
Option D.
Yes. And question number 10, we're given with statements and conclusions. So here I believe it should be that both the conclusions are correct.
Option D.
None is correct.
Yes, Mansi.
Okay. But certainly some mobiles are watches. So it says there are some radios which are mobiles and all mobiles are computers. And out of that, some computers are watches. So certainly some mobiles are watches.
बी वाला कंक्लूजन करेक्ट होना चाहिए था, ये ऑप्शन मैंने लगाया था लेकिन आंसर की में डी दिया हुआ है.
ठीक है, then it is considering the extreme situation because certainly लिखा है ना, तो certainly नहीं हो सकता है. That is why both are incorrect. Then again moving to the passage, question number 11. So here we have to identify assumptions. So I believe 1, 3 and 4. 2 should be incorrect.
ऑप्शन डी.
In question number 12, so on the basis of the passage, the main theme that it is talking about is agroecology. So you have to identify out of the given options how many fits into the concept of agroecology. So I believe 2, 3, 4 and 5.
ऑप्शन ए.
A 1, 4, 5.
Yes, Mansi.
1, 4, 5. So 4 and 5 are there. So it means 3 is not there. Hydroponics. Okay. Then question number 13. So most critical inference here, I guess option number D, that present trend of communication technologies will affect our lives in future.
ऑप्शन ए.
Option A, computers are not completely safe. Okay. These are some of the questions where we have confusing options. So question number 14, the basis of passage, identify the assumptions. So 4 and 5 should be valid, I guess.
ऑप्शन सी.
Then moving on to question number 15. So again, statement and the conclusions. So in this case, only conclusion number 2 should be correct.
ऑप्शन सी.
Both are correct. Okay. Question number 16. So boy plays with a ball and drops it from a height of 1.5 meter. Every time the ball hits the ground, bounces back to attain 4/5 of the previous height. So this is to be kept in mind of the previous height. So ball does not bounce further if the previous height is less than 50 centimeters. So here it is centimeter, here we have meter. So 1 meter has 100 centimeters. So you can convert this and it will be 150 centimeter. So the number of times the ball hits the ground before the ball stops bouncing. So we have to stop at the number where it drops below 50 centimeters. So in this case, you just have to keep calculating 4/5 of the previous height. So we start with 150 total height that is given to us. So 150 and 4/5 would be 120. So this is the first bounce. Then we'll calculate 4/5 of 120 because it is previous height. So in each step, we'll take this number successively and you will see in the 5th bounce, it attains the height of 49.152 centimeters. So it drops below 50 centimeter and now it will stop bouncing. So it has to be 5 bounces.
Option B.
And 17, then image of consonants of the English alphabets. They are in capitals are observed in a mirror. And what is the number of images of these which do not look like their original shapes? So in order to talking about the mirror image. So I guess it should be 16.
Option B.
B 14. Okay. 18th question. So this is again the basis of the direction, the movement, and you have to, the easiest way to solve these type of questions is you just keep drawing as per the directions given. So we start from this position and you can see that's how we are moving, and finally we reach this point. So we have to calculate this distance. So it would be 25 kilometer.
Option B.
Now integers are listed from 700 to 1000, and how many integers? The sum of the digits is 10. So just have to ensure it can be in the combination of 7, 3, 7, 1, 2, because total has to be 10. Then moving on to 800, so 8 plus 2 has to be 10. So you just look at the combinations which are possible in terms of the numbers which are there. It would be 9 numbers.
Option D.
Now, question 20, woman runs again, the direction is there. So I believe option D, that angle more than 45 degree northeast.
Option B.
B, less than 45 degree. Okay, so it is talking about this angle when we're talking about this. Because this will be 90, so it is forming right angle triangle. Be less than 45. Then we have passage. So most critical message should be that India's energy decision-making process is ever more complex and interconnected.
Option A.
In 22, most critical message. So antibiotics should only be used to treat diseases.
Option D.
Another set of passage. So assumptions. Here I believe only 2 is correct.
Option D.
D, none is correct. Will be the emoji. Fine. 24th. So assumptions again. Only one should be valid.
Option D.
None. Rising GDP is essential for a country to be a developed country. Essential, I think होना चाहिए. True. ठीक है. These are very confusing and थोड़ा सा weakness आ जाती है. So 7 books are there. We are given with the conditions, the color of the books, red and blue covers, old and new books, and then law reports and then gazetters. So to identify blue covers, it should be old and it should be gazetters. So when you will deconstruct these conditions, you will see will be left with Q and T.
Option C.
In 26, you have to replace the incorrect term by the correct term in the given sequence, where odd terms and even terms, they follow same pattern. Same pattern is important. So odd and even terms are following same pattern. So you can separate the even terms and the odd terms. So in even and odd, you will see that the difference between this is 2. It is 6, 8, 10, 12. In this case, when you see, it starts from the gap of 4. Then we have 6, 8, 10, 12. So you can see number 2 is incorrect. It should have a gap of 4 instead of 2. So when we have 0 over here, you will see there will be a gap of 4. So the right number should be 0.
Option A.
Now in this table, we have to identify the missing numbers. So first you can see that there are alphabets A, B, C. So you can see A, B, and then C. So this is a sequence A, then B, then C. So you can see moving leftwards. So here would be A, then here it should be B, and then C. So we have identified in case of alphabet. In numerically, you will see 10 minus 7 would be 3, 9 minus 3 would be 6, and 13 minus 10 would be 3. So it should be 3B.
Option C.
Now, again, we are given with 2 sequences. They are again identical sequence. So in this case, we have to get the value for C. So if you identify what is actually the sequence being followed from sequence number 1, you will see that 4 is half of 8. So half of 8, we get 4. Then what is 6? So 6 is 3 by 2 of the previous number. And then what is 15? It is 5 by 2 of the previous number. So you can see the odd numbers are increasing here. So next would be 7 by 2, 9 by 2, and likewise. But we have to stop at C. So exact same pattern would be followed in sequence number 2, and we'll get the value of C to be 9.375.
Option C.
Yes, then 29th. So in this case, again, we are given with this situation. The two places A and B 15 kilometer apart, the two persons X and Y moving towards each other, and the speed of A is uniform, whereas in case of B, it is increasing by 0.25 every 1 hour. So we have to identify out of, again, the given condition, whether these two statements are valid or not. So according to me, both are incorrect.
Option C.
Both are correct. They meet midway. Okay, because I calculated इसमें, how did I calculate was कि 1 hour, every 1 hour, because the speed is increasing in case of Y, so they're moving towards each other, so I took the effective or the relative
B
speed.
तो 5 चलेगा, A4 चलेगा, उस अकॉर्डिंग होगा ना। एक स्टेटमेंट में मेरे को भी डाउट आया था इसके में कि दोनों होंगी या नहीं होंगी, क्योंकि
नहीं
X
तो
में
क्या,
1 घंटा लेट चलता है ना। टोटल वो 5 आवर चल रहे कितनी।
1 घंटा लेट चल रहा है, कहाँ
हाँ,
मेंशन है?
मेंशन
सेम
है।
टाइम लिखा है, सेम टाइम।
एक
1 घंटा लेट तो नहीं, टाइमिंग तो स्टार्ट जब दोनों दे स्टार्टिंग टू वर्क टुवर्ड्स ईच अदर, द टाइम इज सेम, बट यहाँ पे जो स्पीड का लिखा है, आई थिंक एक्स के लिए इट रिमेन सेम, ओनली इट इज चेंजिंग फॉर वाई ना।
हाँ,
बट फिफ्थ आवर पे यू विल सी दे विल ओनली कवर 14 किलोमीटर्स, डिस्टेंस टोटल 15 है, so that is why. Okay, we'll look into the proper calculations for this. So question number 30, student appeared in 6 papers. Maximum marks are same for each paper. So I assume that each paper has maximum marks of 100. So for 6 paper, it would be 600. Why I am assuming here? Because you can see answer is to be asked in terms of the percentage you have to calculate the marks. So that is why you can assume any number for ease of calculation. So his marks are given in terms of this ratio total. Overall, the person has scored 60%. So 60% of 600 would be 360. And we are given with these ratios. So you will add them up. So we have taken 5x, 6x would be equalizing 60% of the score, that is 360. When we get this equation, we'll be solving the value of x. So x will be 8. Now we can get the exact score in each number of paper. We'll just multiply 5 by 8, 6 with 8, 7 with 8. We'll get these scores. Now in the end, we have to calculate how many papers did he score less than 60% of the marks. It means since each paper is having 100 marks maximum, so 60% would be 60. Less than, you just have to look where how many papers the score is less than 60. So there are 3 papers only.
option B.
Moving on to the passage. So 31 most logical assumptions. I believe option B.
C.
See, a religious denomination tend to ignore the unity of man. But unity of man, ठीक है, okay. Logical
अलग
rational inference.
के अकॉर्डिंग डेफिनेशन वो चेंज कर देते हैं, उस अकॉर्डिंग मेंशन है कि अपने धर्म
हाँ,
अच्छा।
यूनिटी बात तो हो रही है, बट ये भी आई थिंक वैलिड है, ड्यूटी ऑफ एवरीवन टू प्रोपगेट वंस रिलीजियस, ठीक है. Rational inference in question number 32, so option C.
ऑप्शन सी.
Then few more passage. So to identify assumption here, option number 1 and 4 valid होना चाहिए.
ऑप्शन सी.
In 34th, so the crux of the passage, I guess option number C.
ऑप्शन बी.
B, any form of government tends to deteriorate by excess of its basic principle. ठीक है, बट दोनों चीजों की बात हो रही है पैसेज में, क्योंकि एंड में इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट एजुकेशन ऑफ सिटीजंस इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू इंश्योर सस्टेनेबल डेमोक्रेसी. ये भी बात की गई है एक्सेस की भी. In 35, the group of 120 persons are there. उसमें से 80 are Indians, so rest 40 left are foreigners. So for the 70 persons, they can speak English. So number of Indians who can speak English क्या होगा? तो 30 और more होगा. How 30 and more? So अगर आप यहाँ पे maximum लो, for example, if you assume that 40 foreigners, all of them can speak in English, so we are left with 30 here. So 30 Indians. Now, when you start reducing, for example, if 39 foreigners, so Indians would become 31 who can speak in English. So that is why 30 and more.
Option D.
In 36, 3-digit numbers without repetition है. So the many conditions obtained using 3 non-zero digits होने चाहिए. They are multiple of 3. So 3 कौन से ऐसे digits हो सकते हैं? They don't have to repeat also. Non-zero भी 0 नहीं हो सकता. मल्टीपल ऑफ 3 क्या होगा? फिर 3, 6 और 9 ही बचा. सो इनसे आप कितने पॉसिबल नंबर बना सकते हो? विल बी दिस. टोटल सम निकालो. सम एस, सम आएगा दिस, एंड दो स्टेटमेंट्स है. तो एस ऑलवेज डिविजिबल बाय 74 है ऑलवेज डिविजिबल बाय 9, तो वो भी है. तो दोनों करेक्ट.
ऑप्शन सी.
इन 37, दो क्लासेस है. नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स गिवन है. हाईएस्ट स्कोर कितना है दोनों क्लासेस में? लोवेस्ट कितना है? नाउ वी आर गिवन की 4 स्टूडेंट्स फ्रॉम क्लास ए टू बी दे आर ट्रांसफर्ड. तो एवरेज कैसे चेंज होगी? सो इन केस आप देख सकते हो कि जो मैक्सिमम मार्क्स बी में है वो ज्यादा है कंपेयर्ड टू ए. इवन जो लोएस्ट स्कोर है वो ए से ज्यादा है. तो जब स्टूडेंट्स मूव कर रहे हैं फ्रॉम ए टू बी, तो एवरेज ए क्लास का जो है डेफिनेटली डिक्रीज नहीं हो सकता है. The average score of class B will definitely decrease and the average score of class A will definitely increase. तो ये करेक्ट होगा पहले वाला. दूसरा इसलिए नहीं होगा क्योंकि कंपैरेटिवली ए में स्कोर कम है अगर आप बी से देखते हो. तो इंक्रीज के जगह आई थिंक डिक्रीज होना चाहिए. ओनली वन करेक्ट होना चाहिए.
ऑप्शन ए.
In case of 38, two statements and the question. So इसमें I believe एक स्टेटमेंट से भी आप आंसर निकाल सकते हो. कोई भी एक स्टेटमेंट दोनों में से जो दे रखे हैं. ऑप्शन सी होना चाहिए.
ऑप्शन सी.
39 भी सिमिलर पैटर्न पे दो स्टेटमेंट है. क्वेश्चन है आप आंसर कैसे रीच कर पाओगे? क्या आपको दोनों स्टेटमेंट चाहिए या एक से भी सॉल्व कर सकते हैं? दोनों से नहीं सॉल्व होगा, तो दोनों से वी कैन सॉल्व एंड गेट टू द आंसर.
ऑप्शन सी.
Last question for the day. So we are given in English alphabet. So first 4 letters जो हैं उनको आप opposite order में लिखते जाते हो. तो 4 के सेट में आप similar pattern follow कर रहे हो. तो end में will be left with Y and Z, तो उनको आप interchange करते हो. So पहले आप ये pattern पूरा लिख लो. This is the normal pattern and फिर जैसे these 4, तो इसका रिवर्स क्या होगा? D C B A. फिर नेक्स्ट 4 का रिवर्स आप लिखोगे. तो ऐसे करके आपने पैटर्न लिख लिया. अब यू हैव टू गेट टू द 4th लेटर टू द राइट ऑफ 13th लेटर. तो पहले 13th लेटर कौन सा है? दैट इज पी. अब इसके राइट में 4th लेटर कौन सा होगा? दैट इज बीइंग आस्क्ड. तो टी होगा 4th. 1 2 3 4 इज टी.
ऑप्शन बी.
ठीक है. So that's all for the day. Thank you so much for joining us. And in the next session, next part, we'll take up next 40 questions from 2021 paper. So thank you so much for joining us.